So we made a loop. We exploded the loop into a full song. That was our arrangement. We mixed the full song. Now what do? You got this whole session here, all these parts laid out. It's all well and good, but we're making music. We got to listen to the music somewhere. We have to get the music out of Studio One. Right now, everything is inside Studio One, or in the box as they call it. And we want to export our track. We want to take all of the instruments and sounds and loops, put them all into one file. This process is called a mixdown. In Studio One, they call it a mixdown. And this mixdown process is to take all of the individual tracks, export them from Studio One, and all those tracks get put into one new audio file on your computer. Now, the format of that audio file could be a variety of different things, and there's different purposes for different formats, which we're going to learn about very shortly. Regardless of what the end format is, what kind of file you're making, the process is the same in that you're taking a bunch of tracks, making them into one, and then that track is made into a new audio file. And other DAWs, digital audio workstations, Studio One is a digital audio workstation or a DAW. Other DAWs will have a different term for this, and a lot of them use a term called bouncing. Bounce to disk. You're going to take the song and bounce it to disk. Or you might hear some people say, I'm going to bounce the track. Bouncing is a term that comes from when tape machines were used before the digital realm in terms of music, and music was recorded to actual tape reels. And they would take tracks and send them from one tape reel to the other, combining tracks until they made a full song. And this was originally called ping-ponging, but it got changed to, or at some point the word got replaced with bouncing. So when you're bouncing a track, it just means exporting. It means to do a mixdown. So I might say bouncing sometimes because I've had a whole life before using Studio One where I use the word bouncing all the time. But if you hear me use that, know it's the same as mixdown. In Studio One, they do use the term bouncing, but it specifically means when you take a event and you create a new audio file out of that. So say you had some MIDI part recorded, you could bounce that and it would create a new audio file. So you wouldn't have MIDI anymore, you'd have the audio version of that MIDI. We're going to talk about bouncing inside of Studio One in the future, but again, it really just means the same thing. It's taking something and turning it into a new audio file. So that's the definition. We're going to learn how to do it so that we can get our song out of Studio One and into the real world, whether that be on your phone, through email, upload it to the internet, whatever it happens to be. So let's get started with that.